Hello everyone, welcome to Urbanscape Bangalore, and in this episode we will be looking at some beautiful succulent arrangements. So in this episode I thought I would do something very different with my succulents. So I thought, why not do a dry succulent fountain? So for the succulent fountain arrangement, you would need some items. So the trough that you see in front of you, or the square container that you see in front of you, is really shallow. This can be used for bonsai plants as well, but for this particular fountain succulent, I found this trough really ideal. So what are the necessary items that you would need? You would need some compost, and guys, I must tell you that I'm really happy with this particular vermicompost, and I will tell you from where I got this. It is from the same place where I generally go, the one that is there in Kagadasapura, of which I had recently uploaded a video of. And then we would need some sand as well, because for succulents drainage is very important. So I would use a potting mix of around 90% sand and 10% compost, or 80% sand and 20% compost. So you will also need some pebbles or some stones for embellishing the entire container arrangement. So these are the succulents that I will be using. I have covered most of these succulents in my other videos. I think except for the aloe, I have covered all the others. So I have the aloe here, the Crassula, the Aeonium, then the snake plant and the Kalanchoe. So folks, if at all you want to know how to take care of all these plants, then I will be putting up a link in the description below. So now you can use any kind of drainage material. You can use a lot of pebbles, you can use a lot of these broken tile pieces, or any other crock material. So I have used this broken tile piece, and another thing is that the concave part of the broken tile must face the hole, because it should not block the flow of water. And now what you need to do is you need to remove all these plants from its existing container. Make sure that most of the soil from the root ball comes off and you are left with some shallow roots. Do not worry, these plants are shallow rooted and they will do really well in shallow containers as well. So that is why I have used this very shallow trough. So now you can get a glimpse of how shallow their root systems are. So I initially thought that I would use some other plants which are non-succulents, but then I realized that I shouldn't do that. I will just make a video exclusively for you succulent lovers. I am a new convert. I have never really liked succulents, but I really adore them. They are so low maintenance, they are beautiful to look at, and there are so many varieties of them. So now I will be adding the sand as a base in the trough. After the layer of sand is added, now I will be adding a layer of compost. So fertilizing of your succulents is not really very important. It can do well with a little bit of organic matter, so I am adding compost. So the next time I will be adding compost or any kind of fertilizer in this particular succulent arrangement will be after 5 months or 6 months. That is how beautiful and versatile this plant is. So now we will be placing these plants in the trough. So placement or arrangement of these succulents depends on each of our creativity. So my creativity would be different from what you would see as creative. So it completely is very personal. So I believe that the longest or the tallest succulent should go in between, because you could see that particular succulent from whichever angle you can. And also remember that the smallest succulents, or the succulents that you can't really see or are very short, should be placed in the front. So here I would like to give you a small creative tip. If at all you have two plants of the same kind, for example the aloe that I have in front of you, it is always advisable that you use 3 of the same kind or 3 plants of the same kind, because it will look even better in a container arrangement like this. For that matter, the odd rule is true for any kind of home decor, be it your interior design or your plant decorations. So initially you would need to mix and match and see where which plant goes. If at all you don't find one position or one location not suitable, then you can always move or shift the plant. After you have placed all the succulents in the trough, now you would have to backfill the trough with some sand. So here I'm adding a little bit of garden soil. So some amount of garden soil is perfectly fine, but make sure that you do not add a lot of garden soil, because most of the gardeners or most of the nursery guys actually give all your succulents in garden soil, which is really detrimental for its growth. So as soon as you get your succulents home, shift the succulent into another container and use a potting mix that is well draining. So folks, this particular project took me at least 2 days to complete. So this phase that you see right now is the day 1 of the project. So on day 1, what I did was I completed the trough, the square container, and on day 2 is when I really thought that I would add a very interesting element into this entire arrangement. So I thought that there was this particular jug which was made out of terracotta, which was just lying in the house. You would remember this particular jug from another episode that I had covered, and that was on the DIY water fountain. However, I had to dismantle the entire water fountain because the trough that was holding the water was spilling or was leaking, and that is why I had to dismantle the entire arrangement, because it was spilling on the floor and the floor was becoming slippery, and that was very dangerous. So I was actually in doldrums on whether I should be using this particular terracotta pot for another water fountain or to use this as a plant container. So now to place the jug into this trough, you will need to remove some excess soil so that the jug sits very snugly into the trough. So the potting mix that I will be using for this particular jug will be 80% sand and 20% garden soil. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to use compost. Only if you do not have compost, then you can just use garden soil, and that is enough. Since this jug is already on a bed of sand, I will not be using any kind of drainage material here. So now you can fill the jug with potting mix up to the brim. You can even create a mound. It depends on your creativity how you want the entire look of this particular arrangement to be. So the plants that I will be using is the Plectranthus Prostratus, which will act as the water falling out of the jug because of its trailing nature. This is the Angelina Sedum, which will accentuate the look of the other plants. This is Sedum Stonecorp. So actually I had taken a cutting of the Sedum Stonecorp from its parent plant. So now I will just be adding this into the soil. So this is the self-propagated jelly bean sedum. So I had spoken about most of these plants that I will be using now in my previous videos. This is the lemon coral sedum. So the difference between the lemon coral sedum and the Angelina sedum is that the lemon coral sedum is a little more yellow. That is why the name lemon. So this plant is the Echeveria. Again, the Echeveria is a beautiful succulent plant which has a rosette shape, and I had taken a cutting from the mother plant. So this is the baby plant, and I will just be adding this into the soil. See, this is one of the reasons that I really like succulents, because you just have to take a cutting and place them in a particular arrangement that you're creating, and it will grow roots in no time. But make sure that the soil or the potting medium must be well draining. So again, the arrangement of these plants will completely depend on your own creativity. You can mix and match these plants, see what works for you, see what doesn't, and you can change the arrangement as and when you want. So now I will be adding the Plectranthus Prostratus, which is a trailing plant and which will act as the water trickling down this wonderful terracotta jug. So now I will be adding some colored polished pebbles to add some character into this arrangement. So folks, creativity has no bounds. It can come to you at any age, at any time, or at any place. So folks, if at all you have liked watching this particular succulent arrangement, then please do let me know your feedback by writing it to me in the comment section. Also, if at all you are looking at making your own succulent arrangements or any project for that matter, do let me know by sending a picture at indiahomegardening@gmail.com, and I will showcase your project, your picture on my community page. And you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The link will be given to you below. So thank you for watching Urbanscape Bangalore, and if you liked this video, then please do not forget to subscribe, like and share. Until we meet again, a very warm goodbye.